in first year, we had our first actual exam. And I thought I was very prepared. I was ready. I can defeat and take on this exam. So I go into the exam, come out feeling okay. So I'm like, okay, yeah, I think I passed this. Little did I know, when the results come out, a couple of weeks later, I didn't pass it. And honestly, that news it was hard to take it. It made me feel like maybe this is not what I was supposed to do. It made me feel like I was dumb. But I had a great support system, have amazing friends. For, I think it was 3 days after my exam, I literally stayed in my room, watched movies, didn't get out of bed. But my friends would always come, bring me like food. And yeah, it was just, I love my friends.
Hey, my name is Anisha Patel, and I'm obsessed with all things career development. Whether that's navigating your professional journey, gaining clarity, or building the confidence to reach your goals, I'm here to support you in crafting your roadmap to success. I've grown a podcast that has reached thousands of people across the globe. I'm growing an online business, and I'm stepping outside of my 9-to-5 to build a career of my dreams. I've walked the path of transformation myself, and now I'm here to share insights, strategies, and stories to help you carve out a career that you love, or even a podcast you've been dreaming of creating, but you've not taken the leap to start yet. If you want to connect with me in between podcast episodes, I share my personal career insights and behind-the-scenes stories with my newsletter community, which you can join using the link in the show notes. This is the Pharmacist Diaries podcast. Welcome back to the Untold Stories of Pharmacy Students series, where we're getting a true understanding of the layers behind what it really means to be a pharmacy student today. We've explored digital leadership with Romy and the power of community with Sanjida in previous episodes of this series. Today, we're diving into something that often goes unspoken in pharmacy education: the importance of being more than just your grades and not allowing your failures to dictate what your future will look like. Meet Hikmat Kazeem, a third-year student at the University of Birmingham and BPSA's Western Area Coordinator, who's redefining what balance looks like in a pharmacy education. From bouncing back from exam setbacks to playing netball as a strategy to relieve stress, mastering sign language to interning in Hong Kong, she's living proof that your journey doesn't have to fit in a traditional mold. Students like this totally remind me of myself. Many moons ago when I studied pharmacy, I also participated in so many extracurricular activities, internships, and international travel outside of my university degree. So I am really excited to uncover her story today. And if you are ready to explore how embracing your whole self can transform your pharmacy experience, this is an episode for you. Let's dive into it. Hello.
Hi, Anisha.
I'm so excited about today.
So am I. Thanks for having me.
Oh, obviously, I'm so excited to be here. Let's talk straight into it. Let's get into, I guess, how did you get into pharmacy? I know that your experience initially was thinking about becoming a medical student, and then you obviously switched to pharmacy. Share that story, because that is probably a lot more common than you think. A lot of students in pharmacy have initially tried for medicine. Maybe they haven't been accepted, or they've tried maybe once or even twice, and the rejection then kind of leads them into a different pathway. Tell us about your story from that perspective.
Okay, so it all started in my GCSEs. So we were COVID year, so we didn't actually sit our GCSEs. So it was predicted grades, which to say that now is just crazy. Don't know how they did that. But I ended up with a low grade for English, and I didn't realize at the time that would hinder my options in the future. Anyways, I went with it and started sixth form, did the common-ish combination, so I did maths. I didn't do maths actually, did not like maths. I did chemistry, biology and PE because I love sport. And yeah, so when it came to actually looking at my options, I thought, okay, let me do medicine. That's cool. I want to be a doctor. I just thought the idea of doing medicine and being a doctor was really cool. And I just thought, well, I know that I could achieve that essentially. So I look at the options and look at the grades required. And it turned out that not a lot of unis accepted the grade that I got for English language. So it hindered a lot of my options, which is fine. So when it came around to actually starting or thinking about the UCAT, the BMAT, which are the entry exams you have to do before you get into a medicine course, I thought, do I really want to do that? No. So I thought, okay, let me not do medicine. What else is there? So I had a friend and she has a cousin that does pharmacy. And she was telling me, she said, Hikmat, my cousin really likes pharmacy. You should look into it. But then when I heard pharmacy, I said, no, that's not what I'm going to do. Let me tell you why. So back in year 10, I had a week-long work experience at a pharmacy. It was interesting because what I did Monday to Friday was clean shelves. I didn't do anything else but clean shelves, put out stock. And I thought, is this what pharmacists do? Like, I'm not trying to do this. So after then, I thought pharmacy is not for me, even though it doesn't exactly present what pharmacists actually do day to day, but I just thought that's not for me. So yeah, that's how it started off. And then I thought, okay, let me breathe. Let me think of my future. What do I want to actually do? I didn't think about anything financial. No, I didn't like writing essays. So I thought, okay, like what kind of industry can I go into? But healthcare just called my name and I thought, okay, let me just like do more research on pharmacy. And I ended up liking what I saw. And here I am, third year. Crazy to say it, but yeah.
Awesome. It's amazing, or it's really interesting to hear that a work experience that you had in a community pharmacy really hindered your thoughts on what pharmacists actually do and what kind of perception it gave you about that aspect of healthcare. It's so important that when students, A-level students, GCSE students enter into workplaces that we give them a true understanding of the role that we actually do. And when we have students from A-levels or even pharmacy students in M-Pharm come to the hospital, I go above and beyond to get really excited about pharmacy. And I know it's because I love pharmacy and not everyone has the sort of joy that I do when it comes to careers, but I really wanted to showcase to them that there's so much variety and there's so much that you can achieve with it. So I'm glad that you actually pursued it anyways and rolled with it. And you're obviously 3 years into the journey and so much has happened in that time. I guess as a student, you've entered into joining BPSA and having an exec role. Tell us a little bit about how you got into that and also what your role is all about.
Okay, so in the BPSA, there's 20 exec members, and we have 5 area coordinators. So one for each area: Northern, Eastern, Western, and Southern, and Pennine. So like in the middle of the UK. So I'm the Western area coordinator. So I'm in charge of the engagement of pharmacy students in pharmacy schools in the west of the UK. And yeah, so that's my role. And how I got into it is it's pretty interesting because I don't know if you know of our annual conference. Yes, you do. That's why I met you. So my first ever BPSA event was last mandate's annual conference, and that's where we have many speakers, we have workshops, and there's lots going on. It's a week-long event of different programs. And so about a couple of weeks before the conference, so the conference was last April, so a couple of weeks before the conference, I saw an email. And the email was detailed, there's a conference happening for my uni, by the way. It detailed that there was a conference happening in a couple of weeks. If you want to go, explain why you want to go. And me with opportunities, I jump at any opportunity I get. So I say yes. I'm a yes man. I don't know if you know what that means, but I say yes to literally all the opportunities that I get because you never know how the opportunity will be. But yeah, so I signed up And I thought, okay, let's just do it. So I got the ticket and I went to the conference. Bear in mind, that was my first BPSA event. And by the end of it, so the end of 7 days, I ended up applying to be the Western Area Coordinator, which is crazy to think about. But yeah, it was honestly amazing conference. Like, I'd really recommend it to all pharmacy students to go. You meet different people, like-minded people, you experience different things. But yeah, so that's how my role started. That's how I got into the BPSA. It's a bit different to other people because people have been like following the BPSA from their first year, but I started in second year, which is fine. And yeah, so here I am, Western Area
Amazing.
Coordinator.
Love that. And it's good that obviously from, first year, you immersed yourself into actually studying, getting used to being a pharmacy student, and then getting into extracurricular activities from second year onwards.
Yeah.
I think that's actually quite a smart idea, even if it happened by chance. But it's also really nice to see that the kind of area coordinator roles really involve engagement. So have you used any strategies with students in that journey to get them more engaged with getting involved with what's happening with BPSA? And I assume part of that role is obviously getting new members to join. So how have you kind of approached that?
So my approach was mainly to be honest and open with the students, because as I said before, I haven't really been to many BPSA events, and I thought, okay, if I really tell the students how the events are, how it's impacted me and my personal story, I just felt like it would be a more convincing way to get them involved with the BPSA and actually consider it. So yeah, I just try to be open, honest, share my own stories. I feel like people do resonate with personal stories more. So that's what I've tried to do, just explain how I've found it.
I think that makes a massive difference, though, when you're connecting with students face to face. That storytelling aspect helps people to realize that could be me.
Exactly. Yeah.
And that makes a massive difference. And I use that strategy with this podcast, with things that I do on social media. Sharing my story has been a massive inspiration or motivation for other people. So I love that. And it's a great tactic for you. As well as kind of your coordinator role with BPSA, I know that you're heavily involved in other activities, one of which is playing netball.
Yeah,
Tell me
yeah.
about that. How did you get into netball and yeah, what do you enjoy about it?
Yes, so I play netball. I first got into it in year 7. So I played for my secondary school team, and then a coach at one of our matches, a coach came up to me and was like, Hikmat, well, they didn't know my name, but they were like, you're very good. Can you come to this team? Can you join this team and come to our training sessions? I was very gassed. I was very happy. I was like, whoa, did I just get scouted or something? Because some people say scouted, it's like a big thing. But yeah, so that's how I got into it. So I joined a local club, started training once a week, had matches, started playing East Region as well. So that was from year 7 up until year 13. And then in uni, I thought, okay, let me join the uni netball team. Because netball has been a big part of my life. And yeah, so I joined the uni netball team. And I quickly realized that how much I actually loved netball. So first year, in terms of pharmacy and education, I found it really hard. And one of the only things I'd look forward to is netball, mainly because I wasn't thinking about like the pressures of like exams, assignments, anything like that. It was like my kind of escape. So yeah, so I joined the uni netball team, and I thought, okay, for my whole 4 years at uni, I'm sticking in the team. I am not going anywhere. That's like my way of dealing with everything. So yeah, so I still play netball. I play regular matches, I train, and honestly, I love netball. I know it's funny because a lot of girls do say it and a lot of girls don't like it because of their secondary school experience of like being forced to play netball. But I really love netball.
I believe that you feel like participating in sports and physical activity is a
Yeah.
really good way to relieve stress. And I like how you talk about it from the point of view of spending your time outside of just thinking about studying and embracing pharmacy, being a student, assignments, all of that. You know, you've used it as a form of relieving your stress as well as looking after your body as well. And from the experience that you had, you were one of the first girls who's wearing a hijab as well. So
Yeah.
you've got that kind of like ethnic minority representation. How was that for you?
Yeah. So that was an interesting experience. So my hijab journey started at the end of first year in university. Um, a lot happened. I experienced a lot, and I just thought, okay, it's my time to start wearing the hijab. So one of my major concerns was wearing it during sport because I love playing sport and I didn't want it to hinder me at all. So I was a bit like, okay, how is this gonna go? How am I gonna do it? But I just thought, okay, like I'm not doing for anybody else but myself. So let me just rip the band-aid off and just do it. So one day I rocked up to netball training in first year with a hijab on and I felt like everyone was staring at me, but I received a lot of compliments. Everyone was saying, "Oh, Hikmat, you look so nice. You really suit it, etc." And it really relieved my stress because I was very nervous. Even though like everyone on my team already knows me, it's a bigger representation of who I am as a person. So yeah, it was a lot, especially being the only one in the whole team. So at that time, we had 7 netball teams, 15 people in each one, and I was the only person with hijab. And so I did stick out like a sore thumb, but honestly, I wouldn't change it any other way. I love sticking out. Like, yeah, it's been an experience to say the least, but now I love it. And I'm glad I get to represent all the Muslims. Yeah, it's great.
Good. I love that. And you're just representing who you are as a person. And this is coming out with all the episodes, actually. The students that we're interviewing, like Romy and Sanjida so far, have also said that they don't want to just showcase themselves within pharmacy.
Yeah.
They want to showcase who they are as an individual, as a human, as a person, and all the things that they like doing outside of that and bringing it all together, which is so cool. I believe also that in your first year, you dealt with some challenges with regards to failing an exam.
Yeah.
This is so hard when it happens.
Yeah.
It's so, so tough. And you just go through a lot of emotions and difficulties, not maybe feeling as smart as everyone else around you, or am I really meant to be here? Like the imposter syndrome comes in. And also, you work so hard to get to the point where you take that exam. So it feels like such a setback. And you've got the summer period to then study and figure things out, and having to obviously spend your summer studying. I mean, no one wants to do that. You're like ready for the break, but you end up having to figure out how to then continue the study journey over the summer for retake. So what happened and how did you feel about it?
Well, um, so in first year, January time of first year, we had our first actual exam. And I thought I was very prepared. I was ready. Like I can defeat and take on this exam. So I go into the exam, come out feeling okay. So I'm like, okay, yeah, I think I passed this. Little did I know when the results come out, a couple of weeks later, I didn't pass it. And honestly, that news it was hard to take it. Especially because, as you said, like you work so hard for an exam and I felt prepared. So I was like, okay, where did I go wrong? So yeah, it wasn't the best news. And it did, it made me feel like maybe this is not what I was supposed to do. It made me feel like I was dumb or like yeah, it was hard. It was hard. But I had a great support system, have amazing friends. For I think it was 3 days after my exam, I literally stayed in my room, watched movies, didn't get out of bed. But my friends would always come, bring me like food, and yeah, it was just I love my friends. But yeah, so that was hard. But I didn't let that stop me because I knew I had 7 more exams coming up in the summer. So before we break off, so end of the academic year. And I thought, okay, I don't want to retake more than one exam in the summer. So let me put all my effort into it and smash these 7 exams, which I did, luckily. And that put a fire under my belly, or I don't know what the phrase is. But I thought, okay, so if I can pass 7 exams, how could I not have passed the first one in January? Anyways, so that motivated me. So summertime came and I thought, okay, I can do this. I can do this. I know it's not ideal, but it's part of your journey, Hikmat. You've just got to deal with it. You just got to face it head on and try your best. And it's funny because going into exam, I felt confident again. But coming out, I was so sad. I was upset. The exam went terrible, by the way. So I thought, yeah, that's it for me. I'm gonna have to reset first year, etc. Yeah, it was very hard to take. But then when the results came out and it said passed, honestly, it was the best feeling ever. I just felt like reassured that okay, maybe this is for me, and it was the best feeling ever. So that was probably one of my hardest summers, just because especially I was working at this call center because I wanted to make money as well. So it was hard to balance the both, but I did it, and here I am, third year. Crazy to say it again, but yeah, it was a journey. But I'm very grateful. I've learned a lot from it, and I know that if I put my mind to anything, I can do it.
Awesome. I love that. And it is tough. I mean, I haven't necessarily failed exams, but when I've put a lot of pressure onto myself for interviews is where I've really struggled in the early part of my journey. What I would ask you is that what have you learnt from that exam failure that has helped you now through second year exams and making sure that you kind of like achieve all your goals and your dreams going forward? Did you have any time where you reflected on what you might not have written so well if it was, kind of a more essay-based exam, or were there elements of the MCQ that you didn't read the questions properly or you sped through the questions? Have you learnt anything in terms of your study technique or anything like that?
I think the main thing that I learned was to be more thorough in my revision and my studying. Um, I'm quite a quote unquote lazy studier, so I normally just learn what I need to know. But I've realized, yeah, you can't go far with that mindset. So I think I have developed a more wider. I just read more around the subject and try to actually understand what the concepts are instead of just knowing them, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's easy to feel quite overwhelmed during the study period. You know that you've got like 7, 8, if not more exams.
Yeah.
You're asking older students who've been through the process before what's come up. You're looking at, previous year's exams if you have access to those, or questions that have come up through kind of the study sessions. So you know what the main content is going to be, and you spend a lot of time learning what you know is going to come up and hoping for the best if the rest of the stuff comes. And it's easy to get into that trap. I did it as well as a student because you've just got so much going on. Where I failed when it came to exams is rewriting my notes a million times and making them look as beautiful as possible with all the colours.
That was me.
Yeah.
That was me. I love making things look pretty because it makes me want to study it more, but I've realised as well, that's just not how it works.
Yeah, like you've got to come up with really strategic techniques so that you're not spending your time wasted really on rewriting notes. It's not actually a really good study method, but it is traditionally what a lot of people do to memorize content. And I think that we have to, again, like try different techniques in terms of how that we learn. I like using case studies because it helps me to remember a story, or I like to link facts with guidelines as an example, because that helps me to remember clinical content, symptoms, how I'm going to manage it, what drugs would I use first, second, third line, and then diving into the details of indication, side effects, interactions, all of that. And so it kind of becomes more of a flow chart in terms of how I learn.
I'm taking note. Okay, love that.
But you've got to understand what your techniques are.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
the thing. And some exams are very factual. If you look at things like pharmaceutics, you are memorizing a lot of information rather than kind of applying it to a patient. So it's slightly different.
Yeah.
But the main point to learn from this situation is that it is okay to have failures. It is okay to have setbacks. In fact, this is what makes you a stronger, better student, a better professional, a better person, because you then reflect and figure out what can you do better for the next time, instead of just using it as kind of that thing that defines who you are and makes you feel like, oh, am I not meant to be a pharmacist? You kind of lose that confidence, and that's okay, but you just have to find the learnings from it and move forward.
Nicely said, yeah.
So talking about summers, obviously there was one summer that you had to spend part of it studying, but you are also keen on doing internships, and you've had the opportunity to travel to Hong Kong.
Yes, I did.
So when was that, and what was the experience that you had?
So last summer, I went to Hong Kong for 4 weeks, so a month, and it was an internship, which was organized from my university. So it was a group of us from my uni, and we went to Hong Kong, stayed in the Hong Kong University accommodations, and we did internships with different organizations, and it was the best summer of my life. Hong Kong, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I highly, 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 highly recommend.
I mean, I haven't been there before, but I've heard lots of good things about it. And it's actually really nice to see other countries and explore internships and opportunities that are not always pharmacy specific. Tell us a little bit about the details of what you were actually doing in that 4-week opportunity.
Yes. So I was a marketing and communications intern for a social enterprise in Hong Kong. And the reason why I chose that was because I didn't want to do anything healthcare related, because I knew that was what I was going to do, that I'm going to do in the future. So I thought, okay, let me try something different. So I like taking pictures. I like taking videos. I like being in front of a camera. So I thought, okay, let me just try do something that I actually like. So I thought, okay, marketing, similar. So I did that for 4 weeks. It was really, really, really fun. So the social enterprise is called Africa Centre Hong Kong, and essentially they want to rebrand Blackness in Hong Kong and educate people, and it was great. They held workshops, they held dinner nights, they held so many different things, and I had the privilege to attend those things. I met loads and loads of locals. I heard about people's stories, their backgrounds. Honestly, it was great. I really learned a lot, and it's made me realize I want to travel. I want to see the world. I want to do more. I want to do things that I haven't even thought of. But yeah, it was an amazing experience, and yeah, it was great.
I love international travel. Everyone knows I love a bit of adventure. And it just opens your eyes to things that you just didn't even know existed. That's what's exciting about it. And meeting new people and seeing new cultures and exploring new food and being adventurous outside of pharmacy. I love that. And it's actually given you insight or motivation to do something else. So what are your plans for this summer?
Yes, so this summer I will be hopefully going to India to do it is healthcare related. So hopefully I'll be doing a medical volunteering program for 4 weeks again, a month. And yeah, it's going to be really exciting. I'm going to be helping the local doctors run little medical camps and witness surgeries in hospitals and stuff like that. So it's amazing stuff, exciting stuff. I can't wait.
Awesome. And what are your thoughts, kind of getting to the end of this episode and just thinking about the future so far, from what you've seen from pharmacy, what you've learned through the degree, what you've absorbed through placements, through your lecturers, what you're seeing online? What do you think that you're going to do for the future? And what does that look like for you in terms of the training year and starting your journey as a qualified pharmacist? It could totally be that it's not known and you're completely unaware of what the future is going to hold, but it's good to think and share that, I guess, what your opinion is on that.
Honestly, Anisha, I'm taking it one day at a time. Thinking about the future is a bit scary because I know the studying never ends, and studying can get tiring, and being a student is long. It's fun, but long. So honestly, I'm just taking it 1 year at a time. But I'm excited for what the future holds. What I do now as well is just stick my fingers in so many pies, try different things. For example, I know I work towards my level 1 qualification in British Sign Language. So I can sign a little bit conversational, which is really fun. I've always been interested in that, and I thought, okay, there's an opportunity in front of me at my uni. I can earn this qualification. Let me do it. And I did it, and I love it. So just getting into things as well motivates me to just get to the end and live my life and just have fun while on the long journey.
I love that because you're thinking of the present moment.
Yeah, exactly.
It's so easy to get into the trap as a student of thinking, okay, my next mission is oral, because you've got to apply for your foundation.
Yeah.
My next mission is figuring out, if I do oral and I pick a hospital, training year, does that mean that I then need to go into a hospital pharmacy job? And is that the route that I want to go down? Do I need to be tied down to a job, and whether or not I'm going to pick locum life, or do I just want to have a break and take some time off and explore the world and just be who I want to be?
Yeah.
And I love that you actually answer the question by saying, I'm just living for today and I don't know. And I'm not actually looking to figure that out right now. I'm just exploring who Hikmat is today or tomorrow or this week. And though you've got your summer placement and kind of internship planned out, again, I guess you're motivated to do it because it's fun, not because you're specifically thinking, how is this opportunity going to help me in the future?
Yeah.
And part of being a pharmacy student is figuring out who you are, what your passions are, what you're interested in, what you don't like about pharmacy, and the roots of pharmacy that you're not really interested in. So good for you for thinking about now, because we don't do that enough. We constantly think about tomorrow.
Exactly.
I'm so pleased that we got this episode recorded and we got to share your story.
I hope I do motivate other pharmacy students, because it does get better. And the world is your oyster with pharmacy. The world is your oyster. So keep going.
Agreed. And I can't wait for the episodes to come out. And thank you for your time.
No worries. Thank you, Anisha.